Welcome to the Pickleball Recovery Podcast, where we highlight products and practices to help you feel better faster, so you can spend less time stiff, sore, and injured, and more time on the court doing what you love. This podcast is sponsored by AlloMD. Don't just mask pain, eliminate it. AlloMD provides intense relief and advances continual repair for both acute injuries and chronic pain. All-natural, patented technology developed by doctors to get you back in the game fast without the use of opioids, steroids, or NSAIDs. AlloMD, harnessing the power of pure natural ingredients that provide deep, penetrating repair. Patented, validated, natural. Learn more at www.allomd.com and make sure to use the discount code PBR at checkout to save $5 off your order. What's up? It's your host, Tim Ringgold. Welcome to Pickleball Recovery. I'm so happy you're here. Hey, how you doing? Did you play any pickleball today? I'm going to play in a little while. I'm pretty stoked. Looking forward to it after a much needed day off. I'll tell you, if there's one lesson I'm learning slowly, it is the value of days off on my body. There's no substitute for it. Just the grind. And ever since I did the 8 weeks out training program and you started using the Morpheus app to track my recovery, I'm noticing just how much damage pickleball does to my body, and how much recovery it takes to, kind of counter the impact. I mean, pickleball is good for us in many ways, but just remember, any exercise tears down muscle tissue and soft tissue. So you need your body needs time to build it back up. And if you play on top of that tear down, that's how you start to develop overuse injuries. And gosh, my first 2 years are just a case study in that. So really can't impress upon you the need for rest. It's really, man, I'm doing better than I've done in a while with that. So I'm back home from Vegas. I had my best tournament to date. Very excited. Went 4-2. The best I had gone in senior pro at that point in singles was 2-2. My goal was 3-2. So I bettered my best. Hats off to the guys I played against. And when I was in Ohio, the gold, silver, and bronze medalists, I happened to play all three of them in a row in Vegas. So I beat the bronze medalist, then I beat the silver medalist, and then I lost to the gold medalist 15-12. And I hit 3 out balls to the ad court that were just deep. And I loved the ball. I loved the trajectory. I wouldn't have changed a thing. It was just, the tiniest margin of error, but you got to go for it on your serve returns. And so it really kind of impressed upon me that, I can hang, and what was cool was the following day was my 1-year anniversary of my first singles pickleball lesson. So not being ever played competitive racket sports, boy, how's that for English? Not being ever played. That's good, Tim. I'm not a tennis player. I'm not a ping pong player. I'm not a racquetball player. So to come into pickleball and be competitive now is, it's really a lot of fun. I don't think it's as much fun for the guys I'm beating because I think they're annoyed because they probably feel like they should beat me, but I just want to give them a lot of credit for they're very gracious for welcoming me, the new kid on the tour, So with that, today's episode is with the legend himself, the Badger, Mr. Dave Weinbach, who it took us months to coordinate this interview. It's really hard to interview the pros, you guys. It is really challenging logistically to do it in person, but we did it. We did it at the AlloMD booth at PPA Vegas or PPA Championships, I guess it was called. And Dave and I are both sponsored players. And there is a moment where this interview kind of sounds like an infomercial, but we swear that was not the setup. It just ended up there. So apologies in advance if you just hear, oh God, I hear AlloMD everywhere. Well, listen, guys, this stuff works. So we see it every tour stop. We see people come in pain. We treat them. They can't believe how much better they feel. Immediately they go deeper in their brackets. They win medals. They just, they're blown away. And our experience is no different. So there you go. So what else? If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, would you be so kind to go over and do that? We are really trying to grow our YouTube audience. And the more people who become subscribers, the more YouTube will then show it to other pickleballers. So thank you for that. And then if you know somebody who struggles with injuries, would you refer them to the podcast, the website, and the YouTube channel, right? Just Pickleball Recovery. Whether they go on pickleballrecovery.com or they just go on their podcast app and go Pickleball Recovery, or they go onto YouTube, Pickleball Recovery. You know, your body is your most expensive piece of equipment. And Lord knows we all refer paddles to each other and creams and braces and everything else. Let's refer, the products and practices that keep the most expensive piece of equipment running. How about that? So thanks in advance for doing that. I really appreciate it. That's really how this podcast is going to grow in this platform. So with that, sit back, relax, enjoy the ride, and I'll see you on the other side. Dave Weinbach, thanks for joining us on Pickleball Recovery.
Good to be with you.
Yeah.
Really I know we've been trying to get this done for a couple of months, so I'm glad we made it happen here in beautiful Las Vegas.
Beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Congratulations on your gold medal.
Thanks. It was a great day with Chris Cargis today.
You had mixed gold. Yeah, very good. And yesterday was silver.
Silver with Tao, my buddy
right.
from Grand Junction, Colorado. Always enjoy playing with him, and it was a great gold medal match.
So for somebody who typically goes deep in your jaw because you're just a champion who's been on the podium for years now, you play a lot of matches day in and day out on a tournament. And when I asked you originally to be on this podcast, we were in Austin, and I think you played singles in Austin.
I did,
just for fun, because that's what Dave Weinbach does in his spare time, and you won gold. And then you had to come back the next day and play, and then the next day, and I was like, how do you recover? And so I was like, I want to know what you do, because just a little inspiration story. I remember watching the US Open, inaugural US Open on Pickleball Central, on YouTube, just when I first started playing 2 years ago. 2016. And it was you and Kyle Yates.
Yep, beating
right?
Wes Gabrielson and Daniel Moore in the final.
And you were a ripe 47 or something at the time. I don't remember what you were, mid 40s, something like that. And you didn't look it, you didn't move like that, you didn't act it. And I just turned 50 this year. I'm born in 72.
Welcome to the senior pros, baby.
Thank you. It's great to be a part of it. And I was so inspired by how well you moved on the court. I thought, hey, I can move like that. But I've learned along the way that it doesn't happen by accident. At our age, it takes something to stay active and to be able to play day in and day out, multiple tournament days. So I was super curious. I want to know a couple of things. I want to know, when you're at a tournament, what do you do before, during, and after the day to take care of your body? Because this is the most expensive piece of equipment you own.
Yep.
And you know what I mean? So I'm super curious about just how do you take care of yourself? Let's start there.
Yeah. It's really a process. And for me, it starts a couple of days before a tournament.
Great.
Where I start to, focus on everything from sleep
to
nutrition to stretching.
Okay, great.
To, lifestyle decisions about, how my day is going to go before I start not only eating right.
Okay.
I mean, for me, I eat right on a normal basis.
Right.
So I don't have to change a lot of the eating habits before.
Okay.
I've taken away almost all the deep fried foods, and I still eat bread and some carbs.
Yep.
But my wife and I, and credit to her, Dina, because she does most of the grocery shopping, and she doesn't buy any garbage. So I can't eat that stuff even if I wanted to eat the kind of processed foods like that. So a lot of whole grains, a lot of fruit, a lot of vegetables, a lot of fish, chicken. I don't eat much red meat.
Okay.
But I really am watching I'm 53 now, and I'm in better shape at 53 than I was at 43.
Brilliant.
I'm in better shape now than I was in that 2016 US Open final.
Wow.
And, I don't feel 53.
Love
and, credit to pickleball, because it's really done it for me.
Okay.
I grew up playing tennis, competitive table tennis, basketball. You and I have talked about this. Basketball was always my number one love.
Awesome.
And I played really competitive hoops until I was about 40. And I like to go in the lane and try to rebound with the trees.
Love it.
But I kept landing on these guys' feet and twisting my ankle. So finally, I hurt my left ankle enough where I had to stop playing basketball in terms of playing. I still shoot around with my kids a lot in our home court.
Sure.
But for me, it's a process of nutrition, sleep habits, lifestyle. Pickleball is not what I do for a living. So my real life is I'm a investment manager.
Okay.
I'm what's called a registered investment advisor, an RIA.
Okay.
So, my day is I get up early. I get a lot of work done early in my office, which is kind of a downtime for me.
Okay.
And then by 1:30, 2 o'clock every day, I like to be exercising, whether it's playing pickleball, teaching pickleball, playing tennis, playing golf, and carrying my bag. So I really make it a point to exercise every day.
Love it.
And I'm a stretching, guy before and after. Just got onto what a exercise piece of machine called the Power Plate.
Okay.
Not sure if you've heard of this or seen this.
Yes, I have.
This thing has changed my life in the last 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
Power Plate.
Who introduced you to it? How did it come into your universe?
I was reached out to by a group in Chicago that bought that business years ago.
Okay.
And about 6 months ago, they reached out to me and said, we want you to really consider using this, and we want to get into the pickleball world. And they said they were referred to me by some pickleball players in Chicago that said, hey, you ought to get the Badger on board. He's kind of in tune with not only pickleball, but the business side of pickleball.
Yes.
So Power Plate is this vibration device where you stretch on it and you're vibrating as you're stretching. And what it does is it gets the blood flowing really quickly.
Yeah.
And it gets that oxygen flowing to your brain quickly.
Yes.
So I do it when I'm home.
Okay.
I have one in my office too.
Okay.
It's called Power Plate. And folks, if you aren't familiar with this, look at this online. I don't want this to be a commercial for Power Plate, but it has changed my life.
I love it.
And that's one of the things that has really helped me recently. And, they have, it's actually a plate. You step on it.
Yep.
They have the other stuff too that I use, the handhelds for the guns, the massage guns. They have all the handheld devices that all these other companies have as well.
Sure.
But their core product is called Power Plate.
The plate, that one you stand on or stretch
on. So we've
on.
talked about exercising. We've talked about nutrition. We've talked about lifestyle. We've talked about sleep, exercise daily. But I also have 3 kids that push me to many other activities too. So I just really stay in great shape.
Staying active.
It is. It's a key.
Yeah, and the body recovers faster when it's active than when it's not. And I think that's a misconception for a lot of us. We think rest means rest. But if you're moving, you actually heal faster. If you're going all out to the wall, there's too much. But if we took 2 people who played a tournament on day 1, and on day 2, the next one went out and played recreationally, and the other one sat at home in front of the TV, the one who played recreationally on day 2 will recover faster. The body wants to move, and that Power Plate creates that movement.
It does.
And gets that blood moving into the joints, moving into the soft tissue.
It really does. I do it before I play, and I do it after.
Brilliant.
Yeah, even for when I teach, I go onto the Power Plate even after teaching, and it's very, very soothing. It's recovery. I also am a big fan of AlloMD, as you know. Chris and the AlloMD team got me introduced to this particular solution about a year ago when I was coming and playing the PPA Tour. I got introduced to the Medicaleaf guys and Chris with AlloMD, and I use that a lot. And AlloMD is this product. I know you're very familiar with it, and you've educated me even more than I even envision on it. But I use it before I play and after on my knees. I've had a little issue with my right elbow because I've gone to a heavier paddle. So at my clinics, a lot of people ask me, how heavy should my paddle be?
Great question.
And a lot of people are going, Tim, to these heavier paddles, and they're adding lead tape, and they're getting these things up to 8.5, 9.5, 10. And what's happening is it's putting a lot of pressure on their arm and their elbow and even their right shoulder. So I've really advised people not to go too heavy because it puts a huge amount of pressure on the right side of your body.
Interesting.
But when folks ask me, well, what should I do besides going to maybe a lighter paddle? Look at some of these recovery creams. Like AlloMD is just one example.
So good for tennis elbow. And we're here at PPA in Las Vegas, and the number of forearms that I've massaged in the last 2 days just to help out with that it's never a shortage of people coming in with tennis elbow. And I think that's really something that's really interesting, is that a lot of people come from tennis and bring tennis elbow into pickleball, or develop pickleball elbow because they didn't play tennis.
Exactly.
And they don't know which direction to go with their paddle in terms of weight. And they go online and they hear everything. Right? They hear heavier paddle. You won't have to swing as hard. lighter paddle, you won't be wearing out from the paddle, right? Grip lighter, right? Like
Yes.
talk about the grip. So I love the fact that you teach clinics all the time and people are asking you this very same question. And so best advice, 7, 8 pound or 8 ounce, right in that wheelhouse. Don't go over
every
8,
player's
5.
a little different, but I like to give a range of anywhere from 7, 5'5" to 9, somewhere in there.
Yep.
I don't like above 9 because that's when you start to put a huge amount of pressure in that right arm and specifically the elbow. You mentioned tennis elbow.
Yeah.
It's such a hard thing to recover from.
Yep.
And people, as you know, pickleball players do not like to take time off.
They don't take time off.
And, when people ask me, Dave, what's the biggest thing that you do to stay on the court?
Yeah.
Because I have never had a serious injury. I've played as much pickleball as anybody in the world in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
I've never had an injury that has kept me away.
Wow.
And that's people's biggest fear that play pickleball is I don't want to have something happen to me where I can't play the greatest game ever invented.
It's the biggest fear.
I put people onto these exercise machines, various different machines. I mean, I personally love the power plate.
Yep.
But I'm also a big believer in I've researched a lot about aloe and what it does for the body.
Yes.
And you are
it's a wonder plant.
Really an expert on this.
Yep.
And it's not just people. Everybody waits till they're hurting. Yes. This can be a preventative thing, Tim, and a recovery thing.
Yes. Yes. Well said. And I think that's most people's problem. When you have inflammation, your muscles and your soft tissue are tearing, they're getting inflamed.
Yes.
You're having these micro traumas. And then finally you have a pain breakthrough. But you had all of this happening before the pain. And then people take a day off and it goes to here. And they're like, I'm good. Let's go back out.
Exactly.
And then the first time
Next
they exerted,
game.
now they're back up in the pain zone. And what I love about the Aloe MD is that it heals all that irritated tissue so that then when you go out and play, you can handle it, right? And but kudos to being able to stay injury-free because I think, like you said, that's the worst thing. And for tennis elbow, what you hear all the time is doctors and people will say, rest, like you can't go play.
And that's the worst thing a pickleball player wants to hear.
It's not on the table. They're just like,
it's not an option.
It's not negotiable. No, give me some other option.
The other question I get a lot, speaking of nutrition and taking care of yourself, is people ask me every day, it seems, what do you eat and drink during the day of a tournament? Like today's a good example.
Yes.
We started at 8 a.m. this morning.
Yes.
I just finished at 5:15.
Yeah.
So this was a really long day. And we all know about fluids.
Right.
And that's been real, spoken about in every podcast that, about fluids and electrolytes.
Sure.
And that's a given.
Yes.
But in terms of food,
I
don't like to eat any.
How do you do it?
I don't eat any significant meal throughout the day.
Okay.
What I do is in the morning is I'll wake up, I'll have some fruit.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of berries. So I like strawberries, raspberries, blueberries. I'll do a little mix in with my yogurt.
Okay.
A non-fat, usually a vanilla yogurt.
Yep.
And that takes me all the way till about 11:30. And then throughout the afternoon, I'm having things like walnuts, cashews, peanuts, more fruit, an apple.
Yep.
I like clementines because they're easy to peel versus oranges.
Pro tip right there.
I like bananas. So I never have anything really, really stable that weighs me down.
Yep.
I don't want to feel in my gut any weight at all.
No.
And today was a mixed doubles day where, you're having to cover a lot of the ground.
Yes.
So
Yep.
I just felt really light on my feet all day.
Nice.
So never anything real heavy as that day goes on.
Yep.
But I'm constantly snacking
Yes.
to keep that energy level up.
Yes. Grazing.
Yes.
Right? Grazing through the day. No, that's really cool. I typically will intermittent fast till lunch. So when I'm home, I'm playing. I haven't eaten yet, but at tournaments, it's the nerves, it's the anticipation, it's the adrenaline. I need to put food in my gut before I come to the courts on tournament days. I have to start with food in my belly.
Too many players, because they don't have an appetite really early in the morning, they miss that.
Yep.
They don't eat anything because their body tells them they're not hungry.
Right.
But
it will be.
Yeah, I think the mistake they're making is you need to fuel that body early.
Yes.
I'm not saying have a huge bacon, eggs, and toast breakfast.
But
you got to have some fuel.
Preload. Yes.
You do.
Yes.
You do. Nothing real heavy.
Yeah, think of it more like fuel rather than enjoyment, entertainment, pleasure, flavor. Like on tournament days, it's fuel. Afterwards, we're going to go out and have a nice dinner.
Exactly.
We're going to enjoy ourselves. That's going to taste good because we're off the court.
And we earned it.
And we earned it. Yes. You feel so guilt-free. I have this app that tracks how many calories. I wear a heart monitor. And like Thursday, it was like, 4,600 calories.
Yes.
So when we went out to dinner, I was like, yeah, and it was fine. You know what I mean? My body was like, feed me, Seymour, so.
Yeah. But even, non-tournament days,
yep.
Like my wife and I, we enjoy, healthier foods. We eat a lot of Thai food.
Yes.
We eat a lot of Asian food.
Yes.
A lot of noodle and grains-based dishes with lots of vegetables.
Love it.
And different sauces. And that's how we kind of change different dishes. I'm a big stir fry guy.
Love stir fry.
Love stir fry with different kind of healthy sauces, not too much salt, not too much sugar in those sauces.
Sugar specifically.
And so you can really funk up a dish with a sauce is the way I call it.
Yes, you can. And I do appreciate how you gave credit to your wife. Was it Dina?
Dina.
Because what's in the house, you eat what's in the house.
Exactly.
So, the first line of defense is what comes through the front door. So if you can manage what comes through the front door, then you can manage what comes through into your mouth, right? So for those of you out there who struggle with snacks, empower. If you're the one who's shopping, never shop on an empty stomach, right? And if your partner is shopping, ask them, leave the junk at the store, because once it's in the house, it's too easy. It's your willpower. We don't have a lot of it. So if it's not there, we don't have to exercise the willpower.
Yep.
So kudos, Dina.
And we touched a little bit on fluids.
Yes.
I mean, today I have a 64-ounce Takea water bottle.
Yes.
I drank a 64-ounce Takea water bottle in every match today.
Wow.
That's how much I drank. So what I tell my people is you can't drink too much.
There you go.
I don't care if I'm in the restroom every hour. You cannot overdrink on a day like today. It's been 90 degrees
90
here.
90 plus.
And on the court, it feels like 105.
And it probably is, because the thing people forget is the concrete absorbs the heat in the first half of the day and then radiates it back up
through your body.
So it's hotter on that court than it is over in the grass, than it is somewhere else. And you're cooking in both directions. So your body is just, and in the dry heat, you don't sweat. I mean, you sweat, but it evaporates so fast, you don't notice.
You and I were conversing with a few people yesterday that have a history of cramping.
Yes.
And
who shall remain nameless. That's the phrase.
And
you know who we're talking about.
I was listening, carefully to what you were advising him and her to do in these situations, because it's a recurring theme with these people. They just they don't take care of their bodies, and I really like how you approach them, not talking down to them, but educating them.
Thank you.
And that's what I try to do when it comes to recovery.
Yes.
And when it comes to preparation. And when it comes to stretching. And nutrition. And that's what I try to do.
Yeah, same thing, right? And it's funny because for me, I've been injured the whole 2 years I've played this sport. I'm that guy who, if you have a favorite sports team and they have a star athlete and you're frustrated with that athlete because he's always on the injured reserve list or the disabled list.
That's you in pickleball?
I'm that guy. And I've been that guy in my entire sports career. I have a body that doesn't want to be active, but a mind that does.
Yeah.
So I drag this body through every sport I play, and my body kicks and screams, gets injured. It's been a lifelong thing. So I've had to become a little bit of an expert on how to repair this machine that loves to break down all the time, just out of survival.
So what do you do in terms of both prep and recovery now that you know your body is going to behave like this?
Yep.
What have you done over the last 2 years and will do as you move forward, both before, during, and after?
Great question.
I'm curious.
Great question. So one of the things I learned, because those of us of a certain age, when we were growing up in school, we were taught to stretch before we play. Stretch cold. Found out the research on that is actually backwards. You should just warm your body up, heat up the body temperature. And then once your body's warm, you can stretch a little before you play, but really you want to stretch after. And so I used to not stretch. I'd just jump on the court because I'd hear the balls bouncing and people would be like, come on in. And I would start to play and I'd warm up my dinks, but I wouldn't warm up my body. And then what would happen is I would get in my car full of adrenaline, feeling great. And by the time I got home and I got out of my car, the rigor mortis is set in. Right? And I would make sounds getting out of my car, walking to my front door. And so I started a practice of just warming up my body before I warm up my dinks. And then before I leave the court and get in the car, I linger for 5 minutes and say goodbye to everybody. And then I stretch out. I just stretch my body. What that's done for me on non-tournament days is my body works better the rest of the day. It's not as sore. It doesn't hurt.
Yep.
I don't feel as bad. And then I'm less likely to eat or drink bad things because I'm in pain.
Yeah.
When I'm in pain, I feel entitled to a snack or a little something, something. If I'm not in pain, my willpower is a lot better. So that's what I do when it's not a tournament day. If it's a tournament day, preload with food. I drink more than I think I need. I add electrolytes every other time, and I go through probably 3 gallons a day when I'm on the court during a tournament day. And then I use Aloe MD after like my second match. I'll take my socks off and I'll give my feet a massage with the Aloe MD. And then I'll put on some fresh socks.
Do you also put it on your knees and when your arm bothers you?
If they start to bother me, yesterday or Thursday I tweaked my knee during a warm-up session, put some Aloe MD on it. Never felt it the rest of the day. And then what I'll do is like after maybe the 3rd match, I'll go in the bathroom and I'll just give my thighs and like my hips and my glutes just a massage with Aloe MD. And then I just feel like I just wiped away the first 3 matches.
It's incredible how many, I come to a lot of pickleball tournaments. And it's incredible how many people visit the Aloe MD booth and they get this stuff on whatever's bothering them. Whether it's an ankle, a foot, plantar fasciitis, tennis elbow, knees, shoulders.
Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes.
Chris or you or Ala, put the Aloe MD on it, and literally within 3 minutes, in most cases,
you see it all the time.
They can feel it makes an impact.
It was really funny. We had a gal today, and we don't mean this to be an infomercial, but this is what it's like on tour. We swear. We had a gal come up. She has 2 bad knees. So she said, okay, I want you to put it on one of them. And then I'm going to go walk around.
That's really smart.
So it was like her own A/B test.
You need a neutral.
That was it. This was her control group. This was her experimental group.
That's so smart.
And she couldn't believe it. Like she was like, "Oh my God, my left knee is what sorcery is this?" I was like, "Listen, this is why we talk about it all the time, because again, your body's your most expensive piece of equipment. And if you're going to lose, you want to lose to your opponent, not your body.
Not your body.
It's so frustrating when you're not moving well, you're not hitting well. And if you're tight, you're not reaching, you're dumping balls in the net because you're not following through and you're not extending, and that's so frustrating.
And so many people spend all their attention talking about physical ailments. But what happens when you get a tiny physical ailment, what does that expand to? What I call a mental hernia. It's a phrase I used a lot in my teachings, is because
putting that one in my pocket. Mental hernia.
As soon as the brain senses that anything is off slightly, it's incredible.
It's so distracting.
How that affects your overall performance.
Yes.
So I spend time with people talking about how it affects them from a mental standpoint as well. This is not just a physical, conversation.
Really well said. And when you're like, if you're hungry or you're sore or you're stiff, those are all signals that your body is sending your brain for attention. It's trying to get your attention, right? So now you're distracted. And you and I both know there is no time for distraction in pickleball. It is a moment by moment sport. Micro moments. You don't have time to listen to your stomach or your knee or your back.
Oftentimes, by the time that signal comes to the brain, it's too late.
It's already too late.
And that's why the nutrition, the hydration, the electrolytes, the sleep, everything comes into that ahead of time.
All comes together. So we talked about the power plate as one of your favorite devices. Any other kind of devices that you've used along the way that help speed up your recovery time, make you feel fresh faster?
I do like the guns.
Yeah, the percussion massage guns.
I do like the massage guns.
Nice.
I like it on my lower. I do a lot of teaching. And I'm always like leaning like this, at the kitchen line, feeding balls. So it's always my lower back that I sometimes feel is sore. It's not a shooting pain, like a nerve issue.
Yeah, it just worked. But tired muscles.
Yeah, those guns are wonderful.
Nice.
And as I said, this company that makes the power plate also has, I think, some of the highest end different percussion.
Nice.
Or not percussion, but the
guns.
The guns.
Yeah, percussion massage.
Massage guns.
Yeah, massage guns.
Yeah. So I like that. Both. I do it on my legs.
Nice.
And my back. I haven't had an arm issue, so I haven't needed it on the arm.
Nice.
And then I stretch after I play. And I do a little bit before I play too. But it's more as after. And then I feel really good the next day.
Yes. That's for me. That's what I didn't put those 2 and 2 together. That it's how I feel down the road.
Yes.
And like future me is thanking me for stretching now.
Exactly.
Just don't go to the car just yet. Just get off the court. Just linger.
And
just 5 minutes.
It's not a half hour.
No.
It's 5 to 8 minutes.
That's it.
That's all I do.
And it's so funny how sometimes the smartest things to do seem so obvious that people ignore them. But with hydration, like if you gulp from your water bottle twice between games, gulp 3 times. Like that's simple, but that's a 50% increase in the amount of hydration that you're going to get over the course of the day. And it's like, it can't be that simple. And it's like, sometimes it is.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Dave, so thank you so much for being on Pickleball Recovery, buddy.
Oh, my pleasure, man.
Woohoo.
Yeah. Thanks for doing it.
You got it.
All right.
Thanks so much for listening. Do you want to know the number one mistake picklers make that leads to increased pain, soreness, stiffness, and injury? Just head over to www.pickleballrecovery.com and download my free guide to playing with less pain and more enjoyment. Listen, pickleball makes us feel young at heart, but not necessarily young in body. So go download my free guide at www.pickleballrecovery.com. See you next time.